Hello everybody, hope you guys are all doing very well today. This video is going to be really interesting, a different kind of video from me. It's actually based off of a viewer comment I got quite a while ago, so this is definitely a late video. It's kind of a guide to understanding cinema, and now I'm not going to be very general here because I want to hit some very specific points, and I don't want this video to go over points, too many points in one video basically. So it's going to be very specific stuff that I'm going to be talking about. Kind of just being able to have some tips or pointers almost to watching movies that are a little bit outside of our comfort zone, not necessarily because of the material, but because of the themes, or maybe it's a genre that we don't like. So that's kind of what this film is about. And I think those kind of things, watching films that are outside of our genre tastes and maybe even liking them is kind of one step closer to getting a deeper appreciation of cinema as a whole. So I'm going to start with the story though. For me personally, my favorite genres are action and sci-fi. We're action and sci-fi, are action and sci-fi, and the way things are going probably will be action and sci-fi. And for me, my love of movies came through watching those movies. Because no matter what genre it is that you love, whether it be comedy, sci-fi, action, horror, mystery, suspense, romance, whatever it is, I think that all of those genres have excellent directors working in them, and that there's a lot to learn about cinema in whatever genre is your favorite. I really do think that. So for me, it was sci-fi definitely, and when I saw Christopher Nolan's Interstellar, not that it's a perfect film, but when I saw it and I do like it, I liked it a lot, and I kind of learned a lot from that film about movie making because it was made by Christopher Nolan, of course. So I learned a lot from that movie. So what I mean by that is, I think the step one to getting a deeper appreciation of cinema, as they say, is enjoying movies from genres that you like, because I think there's some wonderful directors working in almost every genre. Name a genre, and I'm sure I can name at least one director who's doing an excellent job of making great movies in that genre. So I think if you watch movies that are to your tastes, from great directors making great films, you're going to learn a lot about cinema. Second pointer, though, is a little bit going into venturing into that area where you're watching a film that's perhaps a little bit outside of your comfort zone. Again, not because of the material, but because of the themes, or perhaps you're not very used to that genre. So for me, it was watching a movie called Paterson, directed by Jim Jarmusch, and you can check out my review on it in my channel. You can just look up Paterson review Rishab Vashishta. For me, I was very skeptical going into that movie because it was a Khan's favorite. So I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a very heady film. And I'm not really one for all these really slow burn poetic films. But having a little bit more of a mature appreciation after seeing films of that sort a little bit before, I had gained not necessarily a mature appreciation, but kind of a more openness to those kind of films, and I tried to go in with an open mind, and I got a really great film out of that. So I think it kind of depends on kind of the mindset you also go into movies with. So just to help you kind of like gain a little bit of a mindset that's a little bit more open to different genres, that's what this video is for. So I'm going to give you some tips on that, maybe a little bit. My tip number one is basically just seeing things from the filmmaker's perspective. It's really easy to get hung up on the plot. For me personally, I used to get hung up on the plot a lot. I used to think that only the movies with a plot twist are good, and that's a terrible way of telling which movies are good. That said, if you like movies with plot twists, again, there are a lot of good directors working there, and there's a lot to learn from that. But I think that there's definitely more criterion than just plot twists to determine if a movie is good or not. But for me, watching Interstellar helped me to learn kind of and see things from a filmmaker's perspective, and trying to see things from, a screenwriter's perspective, a cinematographer's perspective, and a production designer's perspective, a special effects perspective. So many different things go into film, and I think even if you don't know the terminology for everything that goes into a film, that you at least know the concept or the idea. And so seeing things from a filmmaker's perspective will help you kind of have not necessarily a, matured kind of viewing experience, but at least a more open-minded viewing experience, where you're kind of seeing things and saying, "Oh, I see kind of where that filmmaker was coming from." So I think that's really important, and then I think that will eventually lead you to gaining a more deeper and the word I keep repeating here, mature viewing experience. Basically, you'll feel more all-rounded when you are able to come into a different genre open-minded, Now, if you still don't like the film, that's okay. Everyone's entitled to their opinions. I definitely agree with that. My whole channel is about opinions, so everyone has differing opinions, and I love to hear everyone's opinions. But I think you should always go into movies open-mindedly, and especially for genres that you don't know about, it helps to just kind of see things from the filmmaker's perspective. Also, another thing is just in general about Hollywood right now is that there's kind of these two like lines that the Hollywood is treading on. There's the money minting line and the really artistic indie line. And I think it's important to understand that, movies nowadays, before, of course, in the early genesis of film, it was all about entertainment. Filmmakers like Charlie Chaplin, what was their job was to present some sort of escapism for the audiences. Nowadays, I think that's kind of changed because although movies are a great way of escapism, definitely everyone loves their summer blockbuster flicks, at the same time, there are a lot of movies nowadays that are being presented not just as very entertaining necessarily films. I think they can be entertaining, but not all films are being like that nowadays. A lot of filmmakers are now looking at their film as a work of art. And I think that sometimes it's very important to kind of see a film as a work of art because, in general, it is any film, even the entertaining ones, are basically creative slash artistic expression. So it kind of helps to see it from that mindset as well. So, when you go and see a movie that's kind of critically acclaimed or whatever, 90% of the time that movie is going to be pretty artistic in its execution. So I think that there's definitely this sort of change towards making more art-centered films. Film art house, if you've heard of that kind of movement, there's a lot of artistic films right now, even in 2017. The one that comes to my mind easiest was David Lowery's A Ghost Story. I haven't seen it, heard a lot of the good things, so I'm going to check that out at some point. But I think it helps to understand that a lot of filmmakers do see that their film is art. And in the end, as I said earlier, even the super entertaining films, even a movie like Spider-Man Homecoming, it's a work of creative or artistic expression. So I think it helps to know, that kind of this evolution of film that's taking place. So those are basically my main pointers because I don't want to hit too many points in this one video. And let me know down in the comments below if you have any more questions because I want to make more videos addressing your guys' questions about, movies and kind of how to watch movies and about movies because I feel that that's very welcome from my side and I like talking about that. And I think at some point I want to get someone else on to, get their opinions on this too. But I think these are some tips to, going into films that are maybe a little bit outside of our comfort zone, genre-wise or theme-wise or whatever. But I think if you really, really want to, get into the movie world and just be able to be a little bit deeper appreciation of cinema, it helps to see movies that are a little bit out of your genre tastes and kind of, again, see it from the filmmaker's perspective and know that that a lot of filmmakers are looking at their films as pieces of art and that films are really creative expression. At the end of the day, though, I think whatever movie genre you love, there's a lot to be gained from that. If you like action, there's a lot of people working in that field making great films. I think Mission Impossible series, great action series, a lot of cinematic techniques that are great in that are being used. So there's different genres in different movies, and there's a lot to learn from any genre that you like. And I think at the end of the day, it's all about the magic of the movies. Really, it is. There's nothing better than seeing a great film on the big screen for me. And I always encourage my viewers to please, please, please see movies on the big screen. I really don't want the whole theater experience to be ruined and just somehow made extinct. I think people are really up with the Netflix binging, and I think Netflix is a great service. You got so many movies, but there's just something different about watching a movie in that dark room when everyone's eyes transfixed on that luminous screen, and it really is a magical experience. So I hope this video was a little bit, at least if not helpful, a little bit enlightening, or maybe got you thinking about some things. And again, let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this video, or if you have any other questions. I'd love to answer some of your questions, or at least be able to get some conversation started about your questions. So thank you to the viewer who commented that question. It was on my film technology page. You can go and check out that comment. And please stay tuned for more videos. I'll have more reviews soon and more trailer reactions soon too. I've started a little bit of trailer reactions. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. And that's all from my side right now.